I'm at the range and I want to do a quick rundown of the new binocular pack that I'm running. This is the Glacier Sentinel Bino harness. I acquired this a few months ago. I just haven't had time to really talk about it on a video. I didn't even write anything about it until recently, which by the time I record this, it'll be published on my blog at okfj.net. But quick rundown, this is Air. Glacier makes lightweight gear. That's what they're a hunting company and they focus on weight heavily. Weight heavily to make lightweight gear. That's a good focus of theirs. According to their spec, it's about 10.6 ounces. I think I weighed it. It was like 11 with the straps empty. But it's basically your standard style harness, chest harness. It has a front flap that folds forward, holds your binos. This is their large in a gray color. I don't know what they call it. It's not stone gray or anything. I'll have to look it up online. I'll put a caption. I have my Vectronics Vector X's in here. It fits pretty much most binos, as well as my large Swarovski EL range TAs, which are in my vehicle, but I don't feel like busting them out right now. Interiors, it's not very, I guess it doesn't really have a lining per se. Yeah, it does have a lining. It's kind of slick, and the bottom part has a little bit of padding there. Backside, it's got a little bit of padding there. It's got a pouch on the exterior, and if you can see that Made in USA flag, or the USA flag and the Made in USA right there, because it is made in the US. It's adjustable. You can adjust this flat. They give you instructions on how you adjust this top or the rear flap, because this is all kind of a hard, rigid, not really too rigid, but it is more rigid than the rest of the pack. And then it tells you how to adjust the front flap because you can move it up and down depending on the height. But I have it set up for my Vectronics here. It has your standard shoulder straps. It's a little thin on the straps, to be honest. There's not much padding there, but it is still comfortable. It's not a quick detach strap. Other than the side or the bottom side clips, these are QR buckles, but the top straps are held in through these regular clasps, so it's not really easy to take them off if you need to, because you will ruin your adjustments. So if you do take them off, make sure you have your adjustment or where your settings are to index where do you want to put them back. As far as these side pouches here, these don't come by normal. I call them wings. I don't know what you want to call them, but they're wings when you don't use anything on them. And there's like hook and loop, or this loop on each side. And these accessory pouches have hook on their side. So when you interface it or mate it to these wings, they'll hold in very well and they'll fold over and they're pretty much attached. And I have two of their accessories. One is their mag pouch and Kestrel pouch. So I can hold a AW mag or an AICS mag, a short action magazine in here, along with my Kestrel. And then on the right side, or my right, I have this pouch, which basically is just a zipper pouch to hold other gear. And I'll put like a notepad and then other things like cleaning my binos with a lens pen and other gear that I pens and whatnot, markers, and if I need to. But generally, that's why I'll keep it here. And basically just fits on your chest like, normal right here. I keep it really high, so it usually sits on my body right above here. I think it's a really nice pack. I have marsupial gear, which I like, but I always wanted to try this one to see how it is, and I do appreciate this one. It's design. I think my only complaint will be it's not as protective as a marsupial gear, specifically the top flap, because this top flap is very thin and it doesn't really have padding. The marsupial gear is neoprene, so that's like that material's thicker, and I feel that's going to handle more abrasions, especially if you're going to be laying on the ground. And if you're laying on the ground with your binos on your chest, it might, you're going to have some rub here, and you can see it's poking through a little bit. You're kind of seeing it through the material. That's my only complaint there. Granted, considering this top flap, actually it doesn't really detach because you have this cinch cord here that runs around the whole thing. But theoretically, if they were to make a aftermarket or an accessory for a thicker pack or a thicker flap, padded flap, you could probably put it on yourself. But that's my only real complaint. It doesn't feel as protective, I would say, just because it feels lighter and inherently it's probably thinner. But it is waterproof material. I don't know what I can't remember what they call it, but they had some trademark name for it, and it's going to be water resistant. And so that should protect you from the elements in that regard. But if you're interested in a new bino pack, bino harness, check out Glacier Sentinel. I think it's a pretty solid pack, or chest harness. So I'm going to run this for the upcoming NRL Hunter season. And then if there's other ones out there like marsupial gear, I like marsupial gear as well. There's a bunch of other options out there, a lot of options, but the Stone Glacier is one. But I highly consider, you should highly consider one of these if you're in the market for a bino harness. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video and I'll answer them as best I can.